You want to see something scary? I'll show you something scary. Come inside. So, you kids want a little fright in your night, huh?
Gee, Mr. Shivani, how did you get up there so fast?
Don't you kids know? All things are possible on All Hallows Eve. Frightening, chilling things like spin the wheel, make the deal. Just one haunting spin will lock Cactus Jack and Vader in combat when it lands on one of its many ghoulish, haunting matches.
That's not gonna be scary. If you can't come up with something better than that, we are leaving.
Okay. I've had it, all right? You guys want to be really scared?
Get a load of this.
Podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
By popular demand, Place to Be Nation Wrestling returns to the Dirty South for Talk'n WCW, an episodic wrestler showcase designed to educate, evaluate, and entertain, with matches spanning the intimate stage of Techwood Studios to the heights of Space Mountain. Talk'n WCW presents the best, worst, and most surreal offerings from World Championship Wrestling. So cast your gaze to the Turnertron with hosts Jennifer Smith, Tim Capel, and Greg Phillips.
Hi, welcome to Talk'n WCW. My name is Jennifer Smith. I'm here with the pumpkin to my jack-o'-lantern. I don't know. Tim Capel. How you doing, Tim?
I was hoping I'd be the pumpkin to your Bobby Eaton tonight.
Oh, shit. I should have said that.
But that's okay.
I got lost.
Jennifer, Mistress of the Dark.
Oh,
you know, we're here for, we're making all these very topical references because we have a topical show for you guys here on Talk'n WCW. And before we get into it, we've got to bring in our third seat, who is a man who is just as fine an individual as Bobby Eaton. And that is Greg Phillips. Greg, how are you doing this fine, crisp fall evening?
I was having a bit of a rough day, but then that just brightened my spirits. Comparing me to a mensch like Bobby Eaton, that's good stuff.
Oh, he's a sweetheart.
it's accurate.
He's a sweetheart.
And let me just say, I am ready for spooky season, as I on Twitter.
Season, yeah.
And so that I think it's appropriate that we set the stage for such here today.
Are you also ready for Gray Sweatpants season, as it's known?
I don't know. Tell me more about Gray Sweatpants season.
Well, it is what it is. It's just as it sounds. This is the time of year that you, particularly you, Greg, that young men wear gray sweatpants to their heart's desire.
Men, middle-aged men, all the men.
Well, yeah, it doesn't discriminate.
How long does this?
Yeah, it lasts. As long as you can tolerate it. I think many spectators would like for it to last year round. Quite frankly,
I feel like it should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's appropriate. I think that in certain areas, we live in Alaska, you could probably wear gray sweatpants all year round.
Yeah.
I don't know about
layers,
unfortunately, but But what do you guys have any great Halloween costumes picked out for our spooky holiday extravaganza coming up?
Yeah, I was gonna go as one of the Guar characters. I felt like.
Ooh.
Yeah. What about you?
Lord Humongous over here.
Yeah.
I was just gonna wear gray sweatpants actually.
Oh, that's excellent. That's good.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get some ideas from this podcast actually from these matches.
There you go.
What about you, Greg?
I'm going as Millard Fillmore.
Oh, all right. Our celebrated president. Yeah.
Don't ask me.
Instantly recognizable. True.
Yeah, the kid. I wanted a costume that kids could learn from, as well as be frightened by.
Yes.
I can think of no better than President Fillmore.
Agreed. That sounds horrifying.
All right. We've covered a lot of ground here already.
Yeah.
Already.
Proud of us.
All right. So the topic of this month's show is Halloween Havoc. This was this chosen by you, Jenny?
Yes, it was.
All right. I'm glad to get that right for a change. It's kind of becoming a running a bit that I just get that wrong, and I hope people think that I do it on purpose, even though I don't, because it is sort of funny. Even though I don't.
Did it on purpose, even though you don't.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So this was Jenny's pick. I mean, I would ask you why you chose it, but I mean, it seems kind of obvious. We were smart about it. We gave ourselves time for this one, so that's why we're recording this in September. And we have plenty of time to get it out to the airwaves.
The interesting thing about our show is that we have covered a fair amount of matches from Halloween Havoc. You could say the good matches. What that leaves us with is the more colorful and interesting matches.
The more suitably appropriate matches.
Yeah. The more absurd shit, let's just say it. So
themed matches, perhaps.
Yes. So it did take me a minute because I'm like, oh shit, which one of these fucking shit shows am I gonna choose? And I ended up with Havoc 89 and the Thunderdome.
And I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did, Jenny, because you saved us from having a complete, terrifyingly agonizing Halloween Havoc episode.
Yeah, because there's a lot to get into with this, but it ended up being like way better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And we just covered Muda, so, I'm like, well, maybe that's too much Muda too soon, but then, I decided I didn't go.
You can never have too much Muda.
Nah, why not?
I kind of like when that happens. I feel like that happens with this show sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We get into a certain mood for a certain wrestler. We watch a bunch of their matches, and you'd think we'd be done with them after a dedicated episode, and then it's like, I still want to talk about this other match too, and it spills over into the next show. So that's what happened here. Yeah, we get another Muda match, and this is no, I don't want to give this factoid away just yet, but yeah, this is a factoid. Yeah, not a fact, it's factoid. All right. This is the inaugural edition of Halloween Havoc. First one they ever did. It's the main event, as he said, in the Thunderdome. I mean, how many contributions in the Thunder Cage, right?
Yeah. Let's clarify. When we say the Thunderdome, we're not referring to an audience of monitors.
No.
Right, as we saw a couple of years ago.
We're not.
Another company. We're talking about a dangerous structure inspired by what was the movie series it was inspired by? Mad Max.
Yeah.
Mad Max,
Beyond Thunderdome. And now we have the Thunderdome Cage or the Thunder Cage, whatever the hell they call it. Anyway, point being, it's this structure that is made of metal, and it's designed in a cage-like manner. And has the bars a la the WWF cages of the time. It's got like bars that allow you to like have a lot of room to step on and climb. But here's the great irony of them having these climbable bars. There's no point to the bars because it slopes in. So that
Right.
It has a ceiling. There's no escape. There's no
begging the
door.
question, why in God's name would you ever climb this thing? I don't know. No one knows. But we'll talk more when we
Great
get to
question.
later, man.
I'll tell you why. Don't worry.
You've got sparks. You got electrified top of the cage.
Yes.
If anyone tries to escape, as if it wasn't hard enough already, they'll get electrified to death trying to climb out of the cage. So you don't want that to happen for sure.
No.
So it's a
There's also a lot of random shit adorning this cage.
That's the best part about the cage, besides the electricity, is like skulls, spider webs.
Yeah, spider
Mm-hmm.
webs.
Like,
there's a big Tarzan rope hanging down.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say some of it more functional than others. The rope actually comes into play, but some of this other crap is just sort of like, again, it's right out of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. So many contributions to the great sport of professional wrestling from this film series. It's pretty remarkable.
We got the Road Warriors. We got Lord Humongous. We got So we got so many things from it.
all right, so we got Flair and Sting versus Terry Funk and Muta. And poor Gary Michael Capetta on his bullshit as usual.
I was hoping to mention him.
I can't help but mention it. I mean, this guy.
Listen, the way you feel about Nick Patrick is the way I feel about Gary Capetta.
But at least you have a hilarious impression.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is the Thunderdome cage match, or whatever the hell it's called. The only way to win this contest is to apply the submission or surrender. What the hell? What do you mean? You must.
Well,
Terminators as well.
They have designated Terminators, yes.
Terminator. That's the part I couldn't remember. The Terminator.
I wrote down, what the
fuck
are they talking about? Until he explained the Terminators in this case.
I had forgotten about this. I had blocked out Gary Capetta's voice from my head, and at the end of the match, Jim Ross and Bob Caudle are talking about Terminators, and I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Because Gary Hart has a white towel, and Ole Anderson has a white towel, so they are the ones that determine who loses the match.
Yes,
right?
They're the designated Terminators.
They're the Terminators. They will terminate the match by
There's
throwing.
definitely no other way you could have described that other than Terminator.
And it's very important in a no disqualification match to have a special referee.
Right. Bruno Sammartino in this case.
Yes.
Weirdly, I guess. Was did Bruno do
Can you imagine Bruno what he must have thought?
Well, I mean, that was another one of my notes. Like, poor Bruno. What does he think he's stroking out?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, a rare WCW appearance from Bruno in the first place, but to have him out here doing this, I don't know. I mean, some of the. I'm trying to compare it to some of the WWF stuff he would have witnessed, but it all probably pales in comparison to this. At least while he was an active competitor. I mean, this is pretty out there. So, but yeah, I mean, you would think he would be more of a presence in this, but he really isn't. He's just sort of
one spot.
He's actually really well used, I thought. You know, like,
yeah, I think so too.
It's what I love about him is the fact that he doesn't like get in the way of anything.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Compare it to who was it that was the guest referee at Flair and Harley Race at the first Starrcade? Gene Kennedy.
Yeah.
Sucks so much.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that is rage-inducing. I hate that. Anyway, another aspect of this, because it takes a while. Like everybody, there's 4 guys. You have all these entrances. You got to get the cage down. So Gary Michael's doing his fucking shit, and then so you got Bob Caudle. So he is very concerned about the electricity. He hates electricity. scared of electricity. And it is the source of constant amusement throughout this whole match when he gets so nervous when anybody goes near the electricity.
Yep. Jim, when I was a boy, we didn't have electricity. And I've been afraid of it ever since.
He doesn't trust it.
I don't even have an electric television.
Oh, my God.
Well, everyone has their phobias.
Fuck over it, because the match is happening anyway.
Yeah, we should mention our commentators, Jim Ross and Bob Caudle. I've never loved this period of Jim Ross here in WCW, and to pair him with Bob, it's one of those, I'm not sure we could have had a more like milquetoast pairing than these guys on commentary.
To commentate this fucking spectacle bullshit.
To illustrate it, we have Jim Ross saying, "Oh my gosh." If Jim Ross is not violating every commandment under the sun in his commentary, I don't want to hear it. I wanted to hear, "Son of a bitch! God damn it! What the hell?"
Apologizing to the viewers at home,
right?
And his mother.
Also, before the thing even starts, the cage catches on fire.
Yes, it does.
Well, look, it's electrified, you know.
It's dangerous.
TNA would learn their lesson from that and decide to have a completely unelectrified cage years later.
Yes.
Anyway, so Flair and Funk start out on this. They have so much heat. Like, they seem to really fucking hate each other. And it just comes across in all these 4,000 chops that are in this match. Very chop heavy, which is sort of infuriating when you have this giant cage to play with. I'm okay with it at first because they start out with a lot of this Flair chop stuff. But increasingly, I'm like, okay, we got to move on during the match. Anyway, like I should probably do here. So typical Sting and Flair offense, just dominating most of the match at first. Funk just gets his ass beat. Both Funk and Muta briefly have words with Bruno at some point in the match. Like, they are, I mean, it's not prolonged. It's just like a slap. I think Bruno slaps Muta and then Funk fucks with him a little bit later. So there's a lot of tension there. Sting just fucking picks up Muta at one point and throws him into Funk. Just bashes him into Funk and then picks him up and hits him with a suplex. Yep. Finally, Muta gets some offense on Sting and then on Flair. On commentary, they start listing all of everybody's moves because that's basically how you're going to win.
Right, with your
is there
submission.
Reasoning? Yeah, so they talk the figure 4. They talk whatever with everybody. Mostly Flair and Sting stuff, which I did kind of enjoy. Do Funk and Flair really hate each other in real life?
No,
I don't think so. I don't think they ever had any legit heat. But to your point, they really do match the intensity right from the bell.
Yes.
Of where they left off at Great American Bash, which I mean that had such a hot, chaotic finish. You know, even though Flair goes over, that's where you get the Muta interference, and then Sting coming out to make the save, which really sets up this match here, and it's such a great finish to a really beloved pay-per-view, and it just feels like, I mean, and that was months ago, right? That was in the summer. We're now in late fall, and it just feels like they hadn't missed a beat. And that's what I really enjoyed so much about this match is that intensity that they've just carried right on through from the summer.
And
go
ahead.
Also, I was just saying, it really felt chaotic. It feels like a fight between two guys against two guys, and these pairings just hate each other, like with a pack. And it's a lot of it just feels like a fight, like a they're all just fighting and scratching and clawing their way around this structure, and really it's really less about the structure and more about just the physical violence within the ring.
that's what carries it for the most part of the first. Like, cause me, if I'm watching a cage match, I want to see them use the cage, right? But what they were doing was like, I was enjoying it, but I was also annoyed by it because I wanted them to get to the fuckery. But they were so good in what they were doing here, like you guys said, with all the heat, that it felt like a really engrossing fight as well.
Everybody's good here, but the guy that makes Terry Funk, just the way him hanging off the cage and flopping around the ring and taking simple shots and just bumping like crazy off of him and just looking like he's on his deathbed at every given moment. He's all four guys are awesome here, but he's the standout to me.
He takes a tremendous shit kicking in this match.
He really does.
Yeah, I mean, he's great selling in really any match, but here, he looks real good, getting his ass kicked, which he does throughout most of this, whether it's, Flair, getting his heat back or even Sting getting his licks in. We talked last month on our dedicated Muta episode how cool it was to see Flair mix it up with Muta, a guy he hadn't really had a sustained feud with in 1989. So they had that pretty cool TV match, and I found myself sort of thinking the same here. It's like, it's cool to see Sting mix it up with Funk, and I wanted to see some more from them. So it made me curious to go out and see, like, did they have any, like, forgotten TV matches or anything? And it doesn't really seem to be the case. But anyway, neither team really seems to have like a sustained advantage at any point throughout this. As to Greg's point, it's very chaotic, and a lot of times that can be hard to keep up with as a viewer. But I thought it had a really nice flow. They didn't do any convoluted spots where two guys go on the outside and disappear for half the match, and then they have to pair off. That I kind of hate spots like that where it's a glorified singles match where they're just playing musical chairs.
Yeah, this like a chaotic Texas Tornado tag match where everybody's kind of trading off with each other. There's not that sort of one-on-one aspect. It's a four-man brawl the whole time.
Or as Jim Ross put it, an Australian rules tag match.
It was supposed to be an Australian rules match, and now it's turned into a Texas Tornado rules match.
Yeah. That has to be another nod to Road Warrior, right? Because Australian movie, famous import. It's gotta be.
So. That makes sense. It should be a Tarzan rules match because.
Well, yeah.
Funk gets hung in the corner with the rope, and then Sting takes the rope and slams into him over and over again. And then Sting gets caught up in the rope and tied to the cage for a little bit of the match. At one point, Muta just goes under the ring. He just disappears. And then slides back out, but as soon as he attacks Flair, the camera cuts back over to Funk hanging over in the corner. So we don't really get to see that. This pile driver on Flair was brutal.
Oh, yeah. That was a nice spot.
They kind of moved back out from the cage back into the ring to start to work each other over like there's a Muta lock in there. That was awesome. Then Muta starts trying to climb the cage, and he starts getting shocked with electricity. Bob Caudle, very concerned. I feel like he's like backing away with his chair, like he's physically putting distance between him and any electricity.
I've seen this happen before, Jim. That's electricity. I hate it and I don't trust it.
Yeah, if I had any criticisms of this match, it would be, to your point, Jenny, like you wanted to see more of the cage come into play in terms of like brutal violence, I'm guessing. And what we saw was a lot of cage climbing, which, as you guys pointed out, is pretty pointless in a match like this. I guess you do it just for the sake of doing it. That's sort of a Sting signature spot. But I just thought there was like kind of too much of that. Like Sting in particular spent way too much time climbing the cage, swinging on the rope, whatever, doing whatever with the rope. And it was just kind of like, all right, we get it. You know, like that's, you know, let's try to bring it back down to earth a little bit.
But then he fucking springs from the cage into the damn ring like a fucking crazy jaguar or some shit.
Yeah, and stuff like that was cool. But when he's just kind of hanging on the outside of the cage, it's like, what, you know, you're not going to accomplish anything, right? It's just like, this is just a visual spot that serves no purpose.
It felt like to me this would have worked perhaps better. Yeah, I liked the match a lot, but I kept thinking like, couldn't this have just been a regular like cage match? Did they really did the electricity or the curved top add anything to this match at all?
Well,
like,
it's not Mad Max if you don't do that.
It's not Halloween if we don't do a gimmick cage match.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. That's a good point. Good point. Or even just
you got to dress up your cage.
Texas Tornado tag match or something.
Yeah.
But
right. Yeah.
Nonetheless,
I agree.
It's a good match for sure.
Flair finally gets Funk in the figure 4, and Sting starts splashing him a couple times.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was sick. And then Bruno just destroys Muta. It just knocks him
Muta comes in and kind of randomly seems to try to fuck with Bruno for some reason, and Bruno's not having it.
And then so Ole comes in. He's carrying his towel. Hart tries to get in the ring. Ole, like, punches him and sort of bounces him off the ropes. Hart, very comically, flings his arms backwards and the towel flies from his hand. And Bruno sees it, and so he has flung in the towel. And he calls it for Flair and Sting.
Feels like a bit of a technicality, but alright.
Yeah, it's setting up the I Quit match between Funk and Flair at Clash of the Champions, because now Funk can say, "Well, you had me, Flair, but I never quit.
I didn't quit." Yeah.
It was
my designated Terminator called it for me. I didn't quit.
And so it sets that up. But there was also a spot during the match where, did you guys notice this, where Sting picked up Muta in a press and just held him up there interminable.
Yes, for like an hour, yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And then I got mad because he didn't throw him into the cage.
I know, I kept thinking he was going to throw him into the cage, and then it's like...
I was like, that's cool.
It's
just
it's like he second-guessed himself, and he's like, well, will he really make it? If I throw him, will he really make it all the way?
Well, that's true. I didn't think about that.
But
he would. I mean, goddamn, it's Sting. He's got all that ass power. He's going to throw Muta at least 20 yards.
Yeah, have to use the Sting ass for something.
Jumping and throwing.
It works very well. But no, I really loved this match just because I love these guys. These four guys at this time, they could do no wrong. They were four excellent, exciting wrestlers that, you know, Flair and Funk knew how to bring the hate. Muta and Sting knew how to bring the athleticism. To me, it was a match made in heaven.
I would stop short of saying I loved it. I think this is a super fun match, and if I had any criticisms, it's really just, again, the kind of the weird, all the climbing spots and all the acrobatics from Sting. Even though I know that's signature Sting stuff, it just sort of annoys me. I think I also could have done with some more submission teases, because these guys are all pretty accomplished, bona fide submission wrestlers. I mean, whether you got Flair and Sting with the figure 4 and Scorpion Deathlock, the Muta lock, as you mentioned, Jenny, does come into play at one point briefly. That always looks badass. And even Funk does like that spinning toe hold, which I've always thought was a stupid move, but I mean, at least try to put it over, you know, just at least
with that move.
Yeah, I mean, just try to do something with it. I mean, you can get some heat out of that. They don't really do a lot of that. It's more, it's a lot more kinetic, you know, than it is, mat/submission based. So, I don't know. I think I could have done with, you know, the best of both worlds maybe. But, as it stands, I mean, it's a super, super watchable match. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's not like you'll be sitting there disappointed or bored waiting for something to happen. It's, Fast paced, nonstop action. Really, really good stuff here in '89 WCW.
I just think it's like a cool mix of like absolutely crazy ass ridiculousness in this Thunderdome, and then like sort of hard hitting badass wrestling in the ring, like, and how they mixed it up is just odd, but I don't know. I think they really went for it. Like I think they were. I appreciate the effort, you know, and what they were trying to do, and you know, mix it up and do a gimmick. You know, I love that shit. So.
Yeah,
I ended up loving this a lot.
I'm the same way. Like I do think that the weird gimmick was unnecessary, and the match could have been even better maybe without it. But I loved it too. I just love the chaos. The fact that it was chaos, but it didn't feel like a modern day chaos match where to Tim's point earlier, where they kind of stand around. I mean, I can appreciate those too, but this one didn't come off like they were all waiting on big things to happen. You know, they weren't standing around waiting on spots and stuff like that. They were fighting. And I really appreciated that. And, you know, who knows? If I'd put your ass in that spinning toe hole, Ric Flair, you banana nose bastard.
Banana nose? I've never heard that one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a famous Terry Funk.
Ric Flair, you horse tooth banana nose bastard.
Horse tooth? He is not.
Dusty Rhodes, sucking dog.
I knew that.
Where's Cactus?
Terry Funk's thing is to alternate between, with his insults, he does a weird thing where he starts out very PG-13.
Yeah.
Honestly, very PG. And then just goes way over the top at the end where he's like, you son of a bitch, your mother's a whore and your daughter fucks dogs.
Oh man, when he said they're telling Mick Foley, you hear me, Cactus? Your wife's a whore, Cactus. Your children are bastards, Cactus.
Yeah. He just goes way too... He does. He did.
Yeah, that was when they were feuding in that ECW revival. And
oh, God.
He's trying to get Mick Foley to fight him. Your children are bastards.
Fuck.
Your wife's a whore.
I mean, one minute I'm horse-faced, I'm horse-faced, I've got a banana nose, the next I'm, you know,
my wife's a whore.
Giving birth to bastards and trying to pleasure whores and just, I mean, he just goes way, way, it just, there's no transition from one to the other.
Sit there, Terry. Listen, Terry, you can't call me banana nose.
You can't go that far.
It's like talking about baldness.
My nose is my nose.
Listen, everybody knows Terry's bald. You can't say it. I might have a big nose, but you can't say it.
You gotta beat the
no. Can't talk about my lipoma either. Nobody talked about it.
And nobody.
Which he kind of does have as early as 1989. I should point out. You do see a small. If you know what to look for, yeah.
Even if I had noticed earlier on the show that even in 1989, Lex Luger couldn't bend his knees properly.
No, he couldn't. He just. Yeah.
But yeah, so this match was fantastic, and I will go ahead and let the audience in on a not a prediction but a spoiler that the rest of the matches on this show not follow this example.
Perhaps not.
Yeah, you're right. So that leads us to you, Tim, I believe.
Yeah. So we're gonna take it just 2 years later to the UTC Arena in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is the 1991 edition of Halloween Havoc, and boy, we're off to a hot start here. It's Eric Bischoff outside the arena, outside the UTC Arena, where we just catch a glimpse of Cactus Jack and Abdullah the Butcher pulling up. They're going to be competitors in the match we're about to talk about. And then just right on their heels, you get the Diamond Stud, a.k.a. Scott Hall. How about it? With his then manager, Diamond Dallas Page.
I'm the one that gave him that name, the Diamond Stud.
Rick is still with us. Very good. We get another appearance from Barry Windham. It's just like rolling out the red carpet here in Chattanooga as all these guys arrive. Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes pull up, looking very stylish. And this gives us that classic bit where the enforcers, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, slam the car door on Barry's arm. And that is going to earn Larry Zbyszko the nickname of the Cruncher. Oh, he's the Cruncher. Yeah. I mean,
Jesus
to think of it, I mean, I guess you got to give Larry Zbyszko something, right? That's going to take
legend later.
Well, yeah. Well, they do that too, but I guess the Cruncher was.
Do that here.
He wasn't a legend or barely alive.
Or living.
What was he wearing?
Oh God, yeah.
Segment was just taking my eyes off of everything that was happening.
We can do 2 hours on the outfits.
Well, easily. Yeah, the wardrobe choices are really something here for 1991. This takes Barry Windham out of the equation. So I gather he was going to compete here on the show, perhaps in the match. I think they alluded to, but is no longer fit to compete with the broken arm, the broken wrist. So, all right. That's going to bring us our opening match on this show. It kind of seems like it should be more of a, shall we say, featured bout, maybe a main event, something along the lines of a War Games. The problem being, this is the Chamber of Horrors match. And the Chamber of Horrors match has such an elaborate setup required that you really can't set up for it mid-show, short of doing like a 30-minute intermission, I guess, which, some promotions are just fine with these days. But no, this is a pay-per-view, and this is a national company, so we've got to just open with the damn thing. We've got to open with the Chamber of Horrors. We've got to have it ready to go. We can disassemble the thing. Go ahead.
I've always said this, guys. I've always said this from the first episode of this we did. If you're going to execute a wrestler on national television, you have to do it at the beginning of the show.
Right.
Gotta lead with
up
that.
Front.
Yeah.
Lead with the murder.
Yeah, so, I mean, we can take it apart, but we can't assemble it in the course of the show itself. So, here are our teams, you guys. Again, this is somewhat reminiscent of like a War Games, but gussied up because it's Halloween. Team 1 is going to be represented by El Gigante, the Steiner Brothers, and Sting. Once again, we get another Sting appearance here. Now, Team 2, as they're called, is going to be the van they call Vader, the aforementioned Diamond Stud, and the aforementioned Cactus Jack and Abdullah the Butcher. Entrances for this I took note of, are kind of a shit show.
Why?
Because for some reason, El Gigante is out first, for his team. We'll just call them the face team. And then they bring out like all of the heels, and then they bring out the rest of the face. I'm like, what? Why? And I'm like, are they like going in alphabetical order? So it's like, no, that can't be. It makes no sense. I've never seen anything like it. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's just, Greg, do you have an explanation for this?
I think it was in order of which they arrived inside the building.
Perhaps so.
Just whoever was ready.
Yeah.
We saw Stud and
matter because they just start fighting immediately, so you don't know.
I was going to say, so Sting is the last person out. In the middle of his entrance, he just starts getting into it with Cactus, just on the entranceway, and that just leads to an all-out brawl. Yes.
Before the match even starts, they announced that one of the rules of the match is it must be contained all within the Chamber of Horrors. First thing to do, start out Chamber of Horrors.
Yeah, so once again, and if you haven't seen a Chamber of Horrors match, you're going to have another ring enclosed by a cage, and kind of Hell in a Cell style. And we also have sort of surrounding the ring. This doesn't come into play, but maybe on one occasion during the match. We have a number of coffins.
Mm-hmm.
And these coffins actually contain hidden assailants who will rise up and attack our participants. We have a lot of plunder as well, which are referred to as implements of torture available to the competitors. Those are kind of scattered ringside as well. And the object of the match, okay, so try to follow. At a certain point, seems completely arbitrary. At a certain point during the match, a literal electric chair will be lowered from the ceiling.
More
deposited,
electricity?
More electricity, Jenny. Thank God, Bob.
Appalled.
Bob had to just sit this one out.
Yeah, he couldn't handle this shit. He would lose it.
So the electric chair will be deposited in the middle of the ring. You will place your opponent of choice, just one opponent of choice, in the electric chair, strap them in, and then climb the inside of the cage, I should say, to a strategically placed lever, throw the lever, and then have that man be electrocuted and executed on live television.
Mm-hmm. That's the idea.
Electricity will pass through his body until he is dead.
Until he is expired.
Or sufficiently jolted. They definitely are not making it out that a person is going to die here. They're just like, well, he's going to get a jolt, and that's going to be how you win the match. Like,
It does look like an electric chair that's used to.
All in good fun.
And we're going to capture the action with a reefer cam. I mean, a
reefer cam, yes.
Reefer cam.
Among the many gimmicks, oh my God, how many gimmicks have we already described for this
17.
match?
And we haven't even got it all.
We haven't even got it all. The debuting referee cam, which is sort of like a 1991 GoPro, I guess, that is strapped to the referee's head, through which we can, with a helmet, complete with a helmet, and that's how we're going to follow the action. So,
and also,
interesting.
Don't forget, at a seemingly arbitrary point in the match, randomly, a bunch of people in white coats, with white face paint, referred to as, I suppose, the ghouls.
The ghouls, the bagouls at ringside will
carrying a stretcher that they put at ringside, and they're kneeling, and they are, I suppose, the ghouls.
They're the angels come to collect the souls of whoever ends up in the chair. Yes.
Of the damned, yes.
And they're in scrubs.
I like the concept of the referee cam.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in execution, it comes across. I mean, it is somewhat fitting because it's kind of like a found footage horror film, although it's more of the nauseating variety, where it's just really, really jerky camera work, and it just makes you want to do anything but watch what's going on in front of you. I
wondered why wrestling doesn't use like more drones like the NFL does, like more.
That's not a bad idea.
Shit like that. I think that would be interesting, but because like you said, I like the idea of the cam, but ooh boy, it was rough watching that shit.
Yeah.
Thank God it wasn't the whole match. I will say that.
Right. So that's an innovation that we're really not going to see too much of or any of in the years ahead. So I guess they had to try.
Yeah, tip though.
Yeah, it's innovative. Like I said, they had to give it a shot, I suppose, because this is a hard match to follow. Everybody's in there all at once. There's no it's not like War Games where you're doing a coin flip and having a waiting period or anything like that. It's, from the bell, everybody, it's go time. Just battle royal style. And once that goddamn electric chair is lowered into the ring, it's so awkward. It makes it so awkward to maneuver.
It almost kills Cactus Jack. It almost
it does.
I love that part.
Well,
and he's ready to push back up on the cage as it's lowering if Jack's not out of the way in time.
I mean, the Steiners almost killed Jack first by giving him that Doomsday DDT. That's not like a casual move. Jack's a big guy, and it's one thing to do that on smaller opponents who, can kind of take it a little bit better. But Jack is. He just crumples after taking that. Which it looked. I'm not gonna lie, it looked pretty good. It looked sick, but he's definitely feeling himself after that. And then the electric chair is nearly lowered on top of him.
Sting also nails him with the lid of a coffin at one point.
Yeah, Sting just
awesome.
throws the lid of a coffin. Yeah.
That's a cool
He just
thing
tosses it.
did.
He tosses it up in the air kind of vertically, and it just lands flat on Cactus's head. Cactus took so many unprotected gimmick shots to the head that he was busted open about midway through. It looked like probably hard way. I would have to imagine. Why would you blade for this when he's,
No.
Just getting wore out.
Yeah.
Vader too. Sting goes to town on Vader with I don't know what it was, like a 2x4 or a pipe or something. And that's in the opening minutes of the match. It's got a lot of action. It's just really kind of hard to follow and keep up with type action.
The best part of the match to me was the beginning of the match, and then here's it just kind of.
Well, I like the end.
Well, yeah. So this quite fittingly, delivers on the premise here. We have an aimless mess of brawling for a while until the heels, I can't even try to describe or do play-by-play. The heels now corner Rick Steiner, and then they force him into the chair. They have all succeeded in strapping him in. Cactus is on the outside. He has successfully scaled the cage, and he's ready to pull the lever. So he's watching his teammates, make sure they get Rick's all strapped in, ready to go. He's got to time this properly. Well, Rick breaks free of the chair and sort of gingerly suplexes Abdullah the Butcher into the chair. Cactus seems to witness all of this, by the way, and seems to get very confused. His back was turned, but he does look over just before he pulls the lever. I guess he got confused. There's a lot of...
Well, look, he had his brains knocked out.
Yeah, a lot of potential CT here. Yeah. So,
the lever had fallen down.
Oh God, no!
Had to climb up and put the tape the lever back to the top.
Holy shit! I didn't see that.
Because WCW.
I love that so much.
Yep. Yeah, just fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So now Cactus, he throws the switch, and electricity passes through Abdullah the Butcher's body quite explosively.
He catches on fire.
He catches on fire. The chair catches on fire. Abdullah is shaking violently.
Bleeding from the
It looks
ears.
like he's going to explode. And that's the last.
Microwave.
Oh yeah, great description. That's the last we ever saw of Abdullah the Butcher.
He died.
They originally had it planned to recreate the scene from Scanners, but
yes, be amazing.
Oh my God! Wow.
Look, there's not much I can add to this match.
No.
If you I don't know that my description really does it justice. You really just have to go out and see it.
There is no way to do this match justice by description.
There really isn't. It's
If it has defeated us in description, that is a fucked up match.
And this is the thing. That's not even all of it, because after the deceased hard corpse of Abdullah the Butcher reanimates and starts kicking and slapping the ghouls on the stage, who, by the way, did nothing this entire time. They were there for no reason.
They were there to witness. They were witness me, boys, from Mad Max.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
At first, I thought that the idea of the ghouls is that they were the dudes in the coffins, and that was the purpose they were going to serve. But no, the only person we see in a coffin is, I think, Brad Armstrong in a mask, who attacked Sting at one point, but then just fucked off to the outside. Like, the ghouls are something entirely different. The ghouls are, some kind of like apparitions that are gonna spirit Abdullah's deceased soul to the nether realm. But yeah, Abdullah is gonna reanimate and fight them. This is some real Undertaker Kane shit going on here in 1991.
At one point, Tony on commentary says maybe he woke up and realized he was in heaven and knew that he shouldn't be there.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
Jesus Christ.
That's deep. That's deep for Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
This match went places for Tony.
It did.
It went a lot of places, folks. And I think you really have to see it to really do it justice. So you're going to watch one match from this show tonight.
Christ almighty.
Make sure it's this one.
All right. You said
well, listen, it's a match that everybody has heard about. I mean, if you know anything about WCW and some of WCW's foibles, you've probably heard of this match. I don't know that everybody has seen it. I mean, it was a while before I had even seen this match for the first time after reading endless, Mick Foley's recollections of it and his autobiography, which is fantastic. You owe it to yourself. Check that out as well.
Dude, I need to do that.
I mean, Wrestle Crap articles in like the early 2000s. This was like a legendary type entry. All the online commentators from back in the day. This was just, one of those all-time great follies that I think we just you can't help but love today. I don't know what viewers in 1991 necessarily made of it, but I think it's perfect for our show.
That was going to be my question to you guys. Like, at the time, what was the scuttlebutt, if any? Like, y'all just went on with your life, or?
I was 7 when this happened, so I don't think I knew that it happened. I knew the match was going to happen, and we didn't order pay-per-views at that time. That was for rich folk that lived downtown. But for us out in the boonies, I waited until the Saturday morning show where they would show like still photos of what happened, and I just remember seeing the charred corpse of Abdullah the Butcher, thinking, "Oh, that doesn't look good. I guess he's dead now." But then he wasn't. So, I just remember being very confused.
You were real torn up about it.
Yeah, the wrestling magazines were my go-to at that point, and they didn't have any explanation for it that was worth anything. So I was just I was more baffled than anything else. I wasn't really I wasn't up in arms about it. I wasn't like intrigued by it. I was just like, well, that was weird.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't know this match existed until, probably reading reviews of just old WCW pay-per-views again in like 2002 or 2001 or something, probably earlier than that. But, I didn't know what to make of it for a long time. I can't imagine, the Dave Meltzers of the world, held this in any high esteem at the time. This may be like a negative star Dave match for all I know. He was pretty quick to bury a match with those negative stars back then. Which sometimes is its own reward. But anyway, we couldn't listen. on a dedicated Halloween Havoc podcast where we've already talked about a lot of memorable Halloween Havoc matches. I think we've done a good job on this show. Really, I mean, when you look at what matches we have talked, there's some good Havoc representation in our back catalog. But having not come up already, it has to happen here. I could not do it.
I agree. This is at least as worthy of mention as the first appearance of the Yeti.
The Yeti, right?
Yes.
Which,
yeah.
I mean,
Cannot be topped in any way.
Yeah. The monster truck challenge, the monster truck pull, sumo monster truck challenge. Excuse me.
Yep.
It's a lot to love. All right, well, that's 2 out of 3. So, Greg, it is up to you to take us home.
Sometimes you like to save the best for last.
Sure.
This, quite the opposite. Just save the last for last. And
the last for last.
Chronologically, we get to 1992, and we get to my pick, my bright-eyed pick of. I much like you guys, I was trying to think of a Halloween appropriate, choices. I didn't want to just pick great wrestling matches from Halloween Havoc. I didn't want to pick just a, grudge match from Halloween Havoc. I wanted to pick something special. We have the Thunderdome cage match. We have the Chamber of Horrors match. And I thought, well, sir, why don't we spin the wheel and make the deal?
Yes, sir.
And so
felt like gambling, did you?
I did. I bet 22 and I got 23 or whatever the
thing is. Yeah.
Legends of Wrestling, but that brings us to 1992 and the Cowboy Bill Watts regime of WCW was certainly
Tim loves Bill Watts.
Certainly a unique time in our industry. And this brings us to the shocking arrival, almost as shocking as his quick departure, WCW arrival of Jake the Snake Roberts as he has recently attacked the mighty Sting and left him laying with a vicious attack to set up this brutal grudge match, this spin the wheel, make the deal challenge for Halloween Havoc 1992. It's going to be not just any match. It's going to be a lights out match, a lights out, unsanctioned, spin the wheel, make the deal extravaganza to settle the differences between Jake Roberts and Sting. And the Snake has appeared and he's attacked Sting, and Sting doesn't know why he's attacked him. That's the backstory. There's nothing else to it.
Yeah.
That's the backstory. Anyway, so at some point, I didn't get replayed on this show, because why would you replay a video for your match? Anybody why this is happening? But I remember, just pure memory, that there was a mini movie that featured Jake Roberts and Sting meeting at some seedy underground bar, and that's where the challenge is made to spin the wheel and make the deal. And so
is that on YouTube?
It has to be.
Okay,
it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
on Peacock or one of those gimmicks, but it should be on every streaming service. But at one point in the middle of the show, there's an announcement from Gary Michael Capetta that it's time to spin the wheel and make the deal. And as he announces it, and the competitor that will spin the wheel and make the deal is Sting. And so Sting comes out with his music and everybody cheers. And then he has to stand there instead of coming out and wrestling like the fans think, hey, it's Sting, he's going to come wrestle. No, he's going to stand there for approximately 35 minutes while this giant wheel slowly rises from beneath the stage. And then the wheel apparently can't rise high enough, so a stagehand has to come over and manually kick the wheel up into its proper position while Sting stands there looking on, baffled. And at one point, JR's trying to kill time. So JR says, well, Sting's been losing sleep. He's been thinking about this match all weekend, thinking about the travails of this match. And Jesse Ventura goes, well, what good does that do? He doesn't even know what the match is going to be yet. And JR goes, well, let's get back down there. So they go back down, and then it's time to spin the wheel. And by spin the wheel, I don't mean actually spin the wheel. I mean pull a lever, a giant red lever that somehow causes the wheel to spin at a rapid rate. And on the wheel, I should mention to everybody that might not know, the wheel has a bunch of different match stipulations on it. And whatever match stipulation the wheel spins and lands on is the match that will be had in the main event between Jake Roberts and Sting. So anyway, the wheel is spinning, and boy, is it spinning. It is just a spinning and a spinning. And at one point, the announcers both say, or Jesse Ventura goes, "It's starting to slow down, Ross." And he goes, and it's not, by the way. It's going the exact same speed. And then Jim Ross goes, "It is slowing down, Jesse." And again, it was not slowing down. It's going the exact same speed. And then it just suddenly stops. And it stops on not the cage match, not the barbed wire match, not the casket match, not the Falls Count Anywhere match. No. Of course, why would
not even the Prince of Darkness match? Come on,
the Prince of Goddamn Darkness match. Where would you want it to stop if you want to really excite and entertain the crowd in 1992? You stop it, of course, on the coal miner's glove match.
Oh, fuck.
And that's pretty much Sting's reaction. That's also the crowd's reaction. Because the crowd, I can tell you how the crowd responded because I was the target audience. I was 8 years old and the biggest Sting fan in the world. My reaction when I rented the VHS tape was, what is a coal miner's glove match?
Now, what in the hell is a coal miner's glove match?
What is a coal miner's glove? Now, the audience has no response to this whatsoever. They're like, what?
I had to watch this video.
Coal miner's glove match. So Sting finally, like, he walks off backstage and he's like, all right, and they're like, he's ready for the coal mine. Then they go to the announcers and Jesse explains, well, if you don't know what a coal miner's glove is, it's a glove from a coal mine. And if you hit the guy with it, it'll hurt him. And so,
it's covered in coal dust.
So this sets up, of course.
That's mesothelioma, mate, waiting to happen.
Waiting to happen, Jim Ross. By God, you don't want to get the black lung, for God's sake. So they go to that brings us later on in Halloween Havoc 92, that brings us to our main event of the evening, and it is indeed Jake Roberts coming down to the ring. No snake, no bag, just himself coming to the ring, and he's ready for Sting, and Sting comes out, and they all cheer, everybody's happy, yay, it's Sting, and he gets in the ring, and they start wrestling. And what is a coal miner's glove? I should probably mention that. Coal miner's glove is a gigantic barbershop-like pole that is hung up in the corner about 20 feet in the air, and on top of it is a coal miner's glove. And if you retrieve this coal miner's glove, it's got magical steel properties about it. It allows you to punch and injure your opponent with one strike or what have you. However, it should be noted. It should be noted, however, that retrieving the coal miner's glove is just optional.
You don't have to be the guy with it. This is called a coal miner's glove match, but really what it is, it's a insert thing on a pole match is all it is. Yeah. It's like, all this, like the nightstick on a pole match with Boss Man and nails. It's not like you have to hit the person with it in order to win the match. It's just, it's there. It's a source of temptation. You can go for it and inflict maximum punishment or maximum mesothelioma.
As Jesse Ventura puts it during commentary, it's just an option. It's a heck of an option, but it is just an option.
Yes.
You could just pin or submit yourself.
It's just a random thing on a pole match. It's not like a ladder match where you have to retrieve the thing in order to win the match. It's just there. So, coal miner's glove match.
Oh, that's a coal miner's glove. And it should also be mentioned that much like the legendary Carson City Silver Dollar match, which on another show, the pole is so high that I don't think Jake Roberts could have climbed it, even if he tried, because you have to climb it like a tree.
Well, Sting got all that ass power. That's the only reason
exactly.
he could climb it.
So anyway, they have the match, and it's just a match. It's just a regular wrestling match. They're wrestling each other, and it's okay. It's fine, I guess. And Sting is trying to get revenge for Roberts hitting him, and so Sting is working on Jake's arm, as you do to somebody that's hurt you, and he's into the pole, and pulls him through the pole and all that stuff. He's hurting him and all that. Jake gets the advantage. He does the Jake offense. It's a very kind of heatless match. It's not very interesting to watch. It's Jake clearly is not. I'll just say Jake doesn't appear to be very heavily invested in what he's doing, and who can blame him? It's a coal miner's glove match, for fuck's sake. So this match just goes on. It's not that long, in fairness, but it feels long. And they finally, what happens is Sting's got him down. He's got the advantage. Oh, I should mention at one point Jake hits him with the DDT.
Yeah.
Which gets a pop because it's the DDT, and Sting rolls out to the apron, and then Jake starts to climb the corner where the pole is. And then Sting, seeing Jake climb, has to get up off the canvas, probably quicker than I would like, for the DDT, in order to stop Jake from
killing himself.
Yes, killing himself by attempting to climb this barbershop pole in the corner. And while this is happening, he throws Jake off the rope, and then here comes Cactus Jack, who had an alliance with Jake for the brief time he was there, and Jack is bringing a bag with him, and he throws the bag into the ring. And at the same time he does this, Sting is climbing the pole and grabbing the coal miner's glove. Jake opens the bag, and it's got this little tiny snake in it. And he pulls out the snake. He's got his snake glove on, which is totally different from the coal miner's glove. Very confusing to an 8-year-old child, I can tell you. And he picks up the snake with his glove, and then for reasons that I still can't ascertain, the snake bites Jake in the face.
Yeah.
And at first Jake pulls it off and then puts it back on his face.
Yeah, I would say Jake forces the snake to bite him in the face. After much effort. Much effort. Allegedly, I don't even remember this happening, but apparently, according to commentary, Sting hits him with the coal miner's glove, and he falls down with the snake attached to his face, and Sting pins him. But again, the concern is not necessarily the coal miner's glove. It is the snake that has attached itself in his body. It is the cobra that has bitten this man in the fucking face. I don't think the coal miner's glove is going to do much,
Yeah. So Jake has got blood coming out of his face. The snake's literally attached to his cheek now, and he's rolling around, and Sting's standing there like, "Oh, that's not good." And Jake rolls outside the ring, and Cactus Jack comes out and he goes, "Somebody help me!" And then Jack falls over because he's scared of the snake, and Jake is, the venom is getting to him as he's standing up and staggering in the aisle, and he's
coursing through his veins,
much like you might say the turntables have turned after how he had done to Randy Savage just a year earlier.
Yes,
and so Jake has been hoisted by his own petard. I've heard it said. By someone, and Sting walks over to the announcers at one point and says a bunch of stuff you can't hear because why would they want to pick up the words of their star on the microphones? But it sounded something to the effect of, "Hey, they need to get an ambulance for him. Somebody needs to help him. He's got a snake hanging off his face."
But more importantly, he got hit in the face with a coal miner's glove.
God damn it! I didn't mean to hit him that hard with the coal miner's glove. So. We've got black lung and snake venom in his body.
Sting should have tried to beat the snake off with the coal miner's glove.
Listen, if he would have beaten the snake off, that would have gotten them kicked off the air, I'm pretty sure.
Well.
No, so you got Jake Roberts, who's left this match. He's supposed to be the heel, but he's left the match with black lung, with snake venom running through his body. Probably, to me, it really put them in a bad bind with their top baby face because, you don't want to cheer a guy who just hit a guy with a coal miner's glove.
For God's sakes.
Well, at least he was trying to get him an ambulance.
Yeah, that's true. Sting was concerned enough about him to say, "Hey, we need to get him an ambulance and get the snake off of his face."
Do you guys think that in a match where the finishing spot is once again a man getting bitten in the fucking face by a venomous reptile, maybe you're bearing the lead by saying, "Oh, watch out for the coal miner's glove"?
Once again, it's just there. You don't have to fuck with it,
You sure don't.
You don't have to.
They built the whole match about trying to climb this to get this glove.
But
and you're gonna die of a snake bite instead.
Look. Do you like the electrocution or do you like the snake bite as a finish?
Ooh. Well,
Which is better?
I would
as
think
a
that
herpetologist,
I might like the snake bite better if he hadn't forced the snake to bite
To
it.
bite him? Yeah.
right.
If the snake would have been a better worker, this would have never happened.
Yeah,
Look,
this snake is
snake,
look.
You can't trust a snake. They're always going to be a snake.
Yeah, that King Cobra that bit Randy Savage is an all-time worker.
Stiff worker, but great nonetheless.
Right.
Exactly.
This left a bit to be desired.
First of all, he was undersized.
Uh-huh.
The business, and second of all,
he's Adam Cole of snakes.
He went into business for himself. He's just clearly not interested in trying to help Jake get over.
Didn't cooperate with his opponent. Yeah.
Nope. Jake had to lead him by the hand, green as grass. Even though
good thing Jake's so good at selling, you guys. You know, he really carried it.
Jake's awesome. Jake's great. Even in this, which was kind of a sad era of Jake. Mm-hmm. He's still such a great worker and a great psychologist in this match. It's just, can we just have a fucking match?
Right.
I know.
We have to do all this other, and this is Cowboy Bill Watts, Mr. Realism. We're not going to have mats at ringside because that's for pussies.
Mm-hmm. You could twist an ankle. Mm-hmm.
We're not going to jump off the top rope because that's for sissies. We're going to hook them up. We're not going to give you vacations because that's for wimps.
Can I just say that the legend for many, many years is that WCW, because WCW is so stupid that they didn't gimmick their wheel of fortune.
No, they
so that
100%.
They absolutely planned this. They absolutely planned this.
That was the most.
They might have told people, oh yeah, that wasn't the plan. We didn't want to do that because the match sucked so much. They might have tried to save face.
That's pretty brilliant.
The only person in the continental United States who would have wanted that match to be a coal miner's glove match is Bill Watts.
Bill Watts, yeah.
What do you mean these people don't know what a coal miner's glove is?
Right.
God damn it.
He has a list of his
bunch of sissies.
Bunch of
top.
Sissies.
Yeah, he's got his top 2 favorite coal miner's glove matches that he was thinking about going into this thing, no doubt. I mean, but it's one of those things where because WCW did do so many stupid things, you're like, well, what's one more? But I mean, they absolutely planned this. I refuse to believe otherwise.
Well, it's impossible not to, because the wheel didn't slow down; it just stopped on one.
Yeah. It just goes to show, even when you plan for these things, they still don't work out for the best sometimes. I mean, in concept, I like the idea of Jake in WCW feuding with Sting. It's a good logical continuation of his bastard heel character from the WWF. It feels like he hasn't missed a beat. Unfortunately, his physical condition has deteriorated so much, and his morale has probably deteriorated as well, wasn't the rumor that he made this big deal with Kip Allen Fry or whoever, and then by the time he started, Bill Watts had the book and was like, no, we're not paying you that. And also, I hate you because I'm Bill Watts. Yeah. Yeah.
Hook him up.
And so, he was not making the money that he was accustomed to, nor that he expected coming in. So,
Plus he worked, WCW with their janky Cobras.
With their janky Cobras. No, is it any wonder we don't see much of him again after this? Certainly nothing on pay-per-view.
No, I think he's only around for a month after this, doing house show loops with Sting and tag matches with Cactus Jack.
I was going to say, doesn't he do a multi-man thing at a Clash or something?
Maybe? I can't recall.
That may have been before. I feel like it's at the November Clash. I don't know. Anyway, Jake will not be long for this world here in WCW. after he makes a big splash, and then that's kind of it.
Well, Snake killed him, so.
The quote
Snake killed him. Coal miner's glove killed him.
To quote Bill Watts, "It's tough business on snakes." All right, let's go.
Tough business on snakes.
So I will admit that maybe, I don't know, it's hard because the Chamber of Horrors is just such a spectacular of the disastrous proportions, but this is the real turd buster of the week. I think. This is one of those, like, if anybody, I see so many people like, oh, the Bill Watts era was actually great.
No.
I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. There might have been great stuff during it, and there was great stuff during it, but by and large, it was shit like this.
Yeah.
1982 gimmick matches that nobody in 1992 that was of the age they were going after had ever heard of before in their lives.
I recently rewatched this entire 1992 Halloween Havoc for Wrestling's Chicken Salad, a podcast you can hear right here on Place to Be Nation Wrestling, very recently. And this is a brutal, brutal show. I know people have fondness for like 1992 WCW, and yes, there are some good matches in there. I would call them diamonds in the rough, largely because holy shit, is this a bad pay-per-view? And that main event is just the capper, just the cherry on top of a real turd sundae. It's wow.
I was traumatized because I hate snakes. I just hated being subjected to that.
If I had known that, I would have picked a different match.
No, you wouldn't have.
Well, then I would have picked this because I was leaning towards picking this.
Just troll me. It's fine.
Well, I was leaning towards picking this before Greg smashed it on me. So it was inevitable. It was going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, but give me an electrocution any day. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about this.
Well, I'll tell you, guys, this was each of our three matches tonight featured Sting. So you can now say we've officially done 2 Sting episodes of Talk'n WCW.
Not exactly the representation of his career I would have expected.
Well,
but
perhaps,
that's a good point.
I mean, we could have done that 98 match with Bret Hart, which is that much better than what we...
Oh, not really. Or what was it? Didn't he do one with Vampiro that was a weird gimmick match?
No, Vampiro.
The coffin.
Oh God. I don't know if that was actually at a Halloween Havoc. I think that was at a like a bash at the beach or something.
Oh yeah.
Appropriately, a graveyard match at the beach.
At the beach, yes.
Oh, sweet.
Good God.
Well, this went exactly how I wanted it to. So.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky season is on.
Season.
Yes. I guess, am I correct, lady and gentlemen, that my upcoming episode is my pick, the next show?
I believe so.
Oh, very
interesting. It is.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I have thought this over, and I'm really just kind of making up my mind in the moment as I filibuster now about who I want to, or what I want to make the next episode about. And I hesitate to keep us too much. I feel like we've been in that late 80s, early 90s era for a little while now. And I say, why mess with a good thing? Because my selection for our next episode is none other than Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Aha! Yes, he's been on my short list. So, I can't believe we've made it this far without doing a Steamboat episode. So good pick. Good on you, Greg.
Very good. Very good. Yes.
I like it.
The Dragon. Yeah.
I would say he shows up as much as Sting does in our some of our.
Yeah, it's weird that he's. Yeah.
Which is good.
I don't think we'll have a hard time finding.
No, definitely not.
And keep in mind, you don't have to stick to the cock anymore. In fact, you can stick it to the cock by stepping outside and finding something perhaps on your YouTubes or your Daily Motions, anything that, as long as it's reasonably easy to find. I mean, let's not have people go on a scavenger hunt, but Enough of this cock bullshit limitations holding us down, weighing us down.
Absolutely. I for one am hoping that Warner Brothers Discovery purchases the WWE content from Peacock, and so that the Time Warner company can live on and regain possession of its own intellectual property. Because who knows better what to do with its intellectual property than Warner Brothers Discovery?
Right. As they sell themselves increasingly to the lowest bidder, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
A brand that circles the drain more and more each day.
All right. Well, on that uplifting note, excited for.
I'm very excited.
Me too. Yes.
Yes. I have a lot of Dragon matches in my mind that I am a big fan of that we haven't had a chance to address yet on our show. So should be a good time. Maybe we'll get a tag match thrown in. Who knows? It should be an entertaining one.
Greg, do you have anything that you would like to promote?
Let me see. No, I do not. I have I promote general health and well-being for all.
Oh, good. I appreciate that.
I like it.
Tim, I know you promote like sadness and darkness.
Always. Yeah, especially this time of year.
Yeah, it's the best time for sadness.
But look, for more great Halloween Havoc action, again, the Wrestling's Chicken Salad here on Place B Nation Wrestling. I was a special guest for October. We watched the entirety of Halloween Havoc 1992. It wasn't a live watch. We just did a review. And spoiler, we were not fans of the show. And in fact, our end of show awards will have it placing rather high, and by that I mean rather low in the grand pantheon of shitty cards that have been watched on Wrestling's Chicken Salad.
Nice.
So do check that out. We have a pair of wrestling podcasts on this network as well, you and I, Jenny. Mm-hmm. In addition to Talk'n WCW, our other regular gig is PTB NXT. That is with Jacob Williams. So we'll have an episode of that coming up pretty soon. Mm-hmm. I also did a podcast with you over on the North-South Connection. And that is called Freak Out Drive-In, your horror watch-along show for, again, appropriately month of October, all Freak Out Drive-In on every week. You get a new Freak Out Drive-In from the Jenny Physician. So you can find that. I'm not going to say exactly what we watched yet. It may not have stopped by the time. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it necessarily, but it's a good one. I think it's a good one.
It's excellent.
One of my favorites, anyway. So yeah, check that out. That is on the North-South Connection.
What else?
I think that's going to do it. On social media, I am Syke68, CYKE68 on Twitter. And that should do it for me.
All right, thanks for go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm G Phillips 8652. That's it. And also on Twitter, I forgot to mention that earlier. So you can follow me on there if you want, and I'll follow you back.
Nice. Unless you're a bot.
Yeah, unless you're a bot, or
you're a Russian bot.
Unless you're some weirdo or something.
No weirdos allowed.
On Twitter.
Thanks for Jesus. Talking
plugging
about plugging. That's the word I kept thinking pegging, and I'm like, that's
pegging some shit as well.
Word.
Thinking
of. So, Freak Out Drive-In.
Well, it is gray sweatpants.
It is.
You get a little kinky.
I'm very distracted by that, yes. And, so all the Freak Out Drivers have been really good. I've also been a guest recently on an episode of Making Mount Rushmore, and we did 2000s movies, comedies, and action.
Action. Yeah.
Yes. So that was a really fun show. And also, Tim, you and I were guests with JT with his At the Movies series that he's doing with a date range of movies.
Very specific window of comedy films, yeah.
We watched Napoleon Dynamite. That was fun.
We did.
To go back and watch that. And then I'm on Jenny Position. If you have any Steamboat recommendations, you can shoot me some of those. I'd appreciate it. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
So long, folks.
All right.